Good.
Welcome back to another great episode of Secure That Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Denny Caballero, and today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Vincent Vargas, back with us to talk about his new book, Borderline, Defending the Home Front. If you turn on the news today, there are two things you're going to see. Besides chaos, calamity all over the world, you're going to hear heated debate on both sides of the aisle about what to do with our borders. Yet nobody talks to the men and women who every single day suit up, boot up, and go do the job themselves. We have the pleasure of having Vincent here, who's not only a former Ranger, Army medic, but part of his life before he started doing big things was working on the border. Vincent, thank you for being here today and for taking time to talk to us about your book, man.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Dude, let's kick it off. Like, why this book? Why this time? Why right now?
Yeah. So I started having like a massive, I wouldn't say massive, but a strong following on social media. And, I kind of was like, well, what do I do with this following? And I'm hoping to kind of inspire, motivate, entertain people with it. But as things continue to get crazy on the border and you start to see the news and the media and politicians kind of demonize the Border Patrol career field, I felt compelled to do something about that. And trying to figure out what that was, how do I talk about the border and not get canceled in my own community of Hollywood, right? Who is so sensitive to every topic that you have to watch what you say in every conversation. If I push too hard on the subject, I could potentially be blackballed in my own career. Yep. And I knew that, but I still felt the Border Patrol as a career field deserved a voice. And so my goal was to write the story and tell my story as a Border Patrol agent, as my experience through my eyes as a Hispanic Border Patrol agent, and be able to tell it in a way that's digestible for both sides of the argument. And if you understood the subject as well as I do, I don't think you would be as angry as you would be, right? So many people are emotionally invested into a topic, but they lack the full grasp of the situation and how complex it really is. And so I felt that I can do the Border Patrol career field justice by telling my story. I could boost morale in the career field to know that someone has a voice for them. I could hopefully help with the recruiting to highlight the career that most people don't really know much about. And as well as answer a lot of questions for those who are not sure what's really going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it becomes, we hear it so much and everybody is echoing it, and it becomes a talking point that no longer requires in-depth knowledge of the field. Now everybody, if you're at a party or social gathering, I don't want to talk about golf. Let's talk about politics and the border. And everybody becomes an expert. Well, I think that we should build that wall in Texas and make sure Arizona deserves to have that wall. Yet we don't even know our own history behind immigration policy. Yeah. You can't pull a Joe off the street and be like, hey, tell me about the Alien Sedation Act of 1798. Tell me about that act. Tell me about how that impacted immigrants. And they're going to be like, I don't know how that impacted Mexicans, but I don't want them in here. And it's like, no, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's so easy to become an expert in current policy right now. We're never even taking. I remember seeing you on social media saying, hey, I'm going to the border. I'm going to be here. I'm going to put eyes on. How many people tuned in instantly?
Man. A lot of people jumped in and started watching and listening to what I had to say, because now you have someone that, if you know me, you know that you're going to get a trusted version of what I have to say. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm also not going to give you an exaggerated emotional response. So, I went down to the border that was during Title 42. And when Title 42 is ending and Title 8 was coming back, there was a lot of thought that maybe there was going to be a rush to the border. It was going to be just chaos, supposedly, because they're going to try and get in during the Title 42 era. And nothing ended up happening. It was very peaceful. It was done, orchestrated and controlled. And most people didn't understand that. And I was like, it's hard to understand why you see what you see on the borders, but at the same time, like, most of the people who are coming, and I'm going to say most, and that's like a caveat, like, you only need one bad person to come through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But most of the people coming genuinely believe that they're going to have a better opportunity here in America. Okay. As long as we can agree to that, like that's the truth. Then the other side is like, yeah, but sprinkled in them potentially could be serious security risks, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's the dichotomy of this subject is you got immigration and then you got security. How do you please both of those? Because both
Yeah.
sides of the argument are saying open borders and the other side is saying closed borders. One saying let everyone in, the other saying let no one in. And both of those arguments are so extreme and absolutely ignorant. We can't open our border to let anyone in because then we don't have a country,
Yeah.
right? Then the country exists. What's the point? And we can't close the border off to everybody because then the integrity of the country and what it was founded on is now in question, right? And so then you ruin the freedoms of what we have come to know. And so that is like the interesting dial, if I had to make it visual for people, a dial that we have to continue to navigate left and right to balance those two subjects and please both of them at the same time. And what you see currently on the border, there's not a very good balance of that. Right now, it's more towards open borders than it is security posturing, which is why there's a lot of anger on the side of people like me and you who've lived a life of understanding the potential threats of that. But to be honest, it's this really complicated topic that, like, when people ask me, they go, so what's the answer? So, well, it's not that easy,
Every American wants what's the final resolution. It's like, look, man, like this is not something you're gonna put 15 people in a think tank and come up with like, all right, you got 15 minutes, come up with an answer. A week,
No.
3 weeks. No.
This is years and years of a policy that's gone completely haywire, and now you have to try and control many different branches off of that tree.
Yep.
Right? We gotta take into considerations the southern countries, in South America, and why are people leaving those countries? Yeah. We have to make a diplomatic approach to try and help them secure their country to a place where people want to stay and thrive. How can we build that relationship? This is like a special forces kind of mission almost, right?
That's right. I was just about to jump in. Baby, that's my bread and butter. That's the beauty of that a lot of people don't realize. As a Green Beret, going down to Honduras, going down to Central America and South America, who's always there? BORTAC. Well, why? Why are they down there? Well, hello, if we can help immigration policy and help train, lead, and mentor other individuals into their security practices, into what they're doing in their government, in their border efforts, like, we can make it better for ourselves. This idea that we have to be isolationist and like close ourselves off and not help anybody, like, it's not going to help us. It's going to make things worse. And some of the greatest work we're doing right now is by working by, with, and through in those countries and helping them understand, like, how can we defeat this issue here? How can we help you make effort in your own endeavors? Because that's going to help us. The reason why the trains are coming through and the large masses of people are pushing through is because we don't have enough support. We don't have enough like manpower down there to help. And that's a reality. And people think it's a wasted effort. Oh, we're wasting money. It's like, no, we're not. The money's not being wasted. I assure you. Yeah. Of all the things we waste money, that is one area where it's like, dude, it's going to really good people who are working themselves to death because it's only one or two people. Yeah. Teaching, coaching, helping enforce and helping bring the next generation of border agents down there, helping their immigration policy. Like, we're losing the fight because we're thinking it's a money pit. Like, oh, we can't throw money. And like, no, dude, like, no, there are men and women out there that are doing a lot of good work and it has to be done over there. So we can help stem the flow that's happening over here. Yeah, but it's one of those things that gets lost.
And I like to say that's just one layer of the issue, right? Yeah. That's just one layer. And I say it like it's a 7-layer cake. There's multiple layers that need to be addressed for us to really start seeing a very successful and a very successful immigration policy that also meets our homeland security, requirements. And so, you have to. People question the wall. Well, the wall is a good thing for certain reasons, right? It's if you say, "Oh, the wall, it's inhumane." Well, what it is it's a means of helping slow the traffic.
Yes, and directing it to the right areas.
Directing to an area that is more feasible to try and work. Because, I mean, people don't realize sometimes you're working 2 hours from your station in the middle of nowhere, and it's just you. It's just you. How am I going to stop 20 people? You know what I mean? And
That's
so,
Lone Ranger stuff right there, dude.
yeah. And I'm not dumb enough to attempt something stupid, right? You know, there was reasons for those. The worst part about it was politicians didn't have a better explanation of why.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to explain the necessity for it. Something that the Border Patrol would say, yes, we would love a wall in this area, particularly because it would help slow the traffic. We need to explain that. We need to be very transparent in the reasons why we want different technologies and different assets to help us do our job. You know, we also need to, Vivek, during one of the presidential debates, he said something that was really interesting. I've never thought it was thought provoking as fuck when he said, why do we allow them to come across and have a baby, and that now that baby is considered a U.S. citizen? Right. And that's something that me going through academy is you learn that just the way of blood. Right. And that was like, I never thought of that, but that's interesting because in my time, there was women who came across pregnant, got apprehended, and boom, had the baby. And you're like, oh, that's a crazy loophole. You know?
Yeah. And it's not only coming across our southern borders. There's so many people that understand that American birthright, and they're like, I don't care how we do it. Let's get in there. And I don't blame them. I don't. And I'm foreign born. I'm foreign born. Yeah. I'm Panamanian.
I don't blame them either. But it maybe doesn't work in our favor as a country when you kind of find that loophole and abuse it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid of immigration. Our country's built on this. I actually welcome that. Right? It doesn't bother me. What bothers me, and it should bother everyone, is how we are overworking our system and running out of resources. We have veterans who are homeless in the streets, and now you'll have veterans and illegal immigrants in the street, because how are they going to find work too? I know there's a lot of work out there, but there's a lot of places that don't have work too. And you're starting to see massive influx in the streets of El Paso, massive influx in the streets of a lot of the border towns. And it's something that I think we're going to start to see the repercussions of 5 years from now, and be like, yeah, do you remember that massive influx? Here's what we're dealing with now.
Yeah. And it's starting, and I am a firm believer that we have to have different opinions, different views, because look, my opinions, my views aren't going to solve the world. It's only in collaboration. It's only through communication. But when you're staunchly just for your base and you're just like, bring them all, bring them here. And then finally gets to the point where it's like, look, you can only take so much. And then finally you're like, can't take anymore. It's like, dude, come on. We knew this was going to, we knew this was going to happen. Come together. Both sides need to come together and realize that you just can't say yes to the point of exhaustion. You're going to bleed yourself. Yeah, you're in charge of a city. You're in charge of people, American citizens. Your heart and your mind tell you want to be of service to everyone. Yeah. But we can't.
And your city has a max capacity like any other building. You know what I mean? It's just a true statement. And, we have to have healthy dialogue, healthy discussions on this topic. As much as you want to have a bleeding heart for people who are struggling in their countries and are coming here seeking asylum, you also have to think about the people who are currently in our society that are struggling as well. You also have to take into account like the American people who are here currently working, providing, paying taxes, have to have your attention just as much as any illegal immigrant that comes across seeking asylum, if not more, because those are currently your tax-paying individuals. Those are the people who provide value to your current economy. And so, it's a tough thing, but I don't know why this is such a hard subject. I think it shouldn't be. I think we have to really remove our emotions when it comes to these logical decision-making process and saying, hey, I have no problems with immigration. I have no problems with legal immigration. When it's illegal, well, then we already know the first step has already been they broke a law. At that point, it's a whole different approach to how we handle these individuals. It's not, and if they're seeking asylum, okay,
Yeah.
there's still a process for that. But what happens is that process is currently broken down because the incentivization of coming across the illegal is easier.
Yeah. It is the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's become it's being gamed. I believe it's being gamed in a manner that it's like, look, man, all you have to do is X, Y, and C. If you already put the play out, if you put the dope out, nobody's gonna follow the path. Like nobody will. If you understand how the game works and you know how to bypass the rules and regulations, you're not gonna get Honest Abe to just be like, yeah, all right, I'll do the right thing. No, hell no. I'm gonna get in there any way I can.
No, when our immigration system currently trying to do it the legal way is already hard enough as it is, as well as takes a long time. People are not willing to wait years, if not a decade.
Decade, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what happens right now is the dissemination of information down south is so strong, so good that everyone knows, like, go through this border and you'll be about 3 days, and then they'll give you a plane ticket and you're free.
Yeah. And it's crazy. It's insane because now, before the current issue, maybe you notice it once or twice, maybe. If you've traveled through the airports at any given moment within the last 4 or 5 months, if you're aware, if you're paying attention, you're seeing the movement of individuals who crossed illegally. Gray sweatpants, the same sneakers, white sneakers, clear manila or clear envelope, baggy or manila folder. Now,
Yep.
if you're paying attention and you're a good observer, as your sniper instructor would say, you're paying attention to this movement. They're going all throughout the United States. And this isn't me trying to single out, or these are human beings. These are human beings that are just getting displaced and pushed to the next block, the next, check the box, send them to the next place. What's the implication here? What's the implication? People talk, people are sensors. Hey, this is how fast this process works. Before you know it, you're going to be going here. They're communicating. Everybody knows how long it takes to get through the system and where you're going to end up. Like, hey, look, you're going to get food, you're going to get shelter, they move you from here to here to here. I'm not looking at this as a cold-hearted individual. It's like, oh man, look at all this stuff they're getting for free. I'm looking at it as there's no incentive. There's no incentive in the process that we have to come here legally. It is by far easier to come across illegally.
Yeah.
And it's broadcasted, it's put out there. And how do we come back from that? How do we dial it back to incentivize, like, hey, I want you in this country. I believe that your drive and your desire to be more, to create a life that is of value to you and your family, I want that here. I want you here working beside me. Hey, that's a reality. If you look at the work ethic, if you look at the drive, the ambition, like, dog, all day, every day, I'll take you on my team. I'll take you. Let's go. Let's bring this culture in. How do we incentivize those people to not put themselves at risk, to not put their kids at risk and their wives at risk, or to leave their families behind, leave everybody behind and come here illegally to work for next to nothing so they can send money back?
Right.
Like,
that's the other thing that's hard for me is that if you want to come here and you want to reap the benefits of the opportunities that America presents to you, then I want you to invest in America.
Yeah.
And I want you to stay. And I want you to make this place even fucking better. I want you to have that thought process in your mind so that we know, like, hey, you want to come here, then you can do everything to keep it this way.
Yeah.
And you can do everything you can to make sure you bring your family. If that's what you want to bring your family, but you're going to make sure that this country is good for them too, and their kids and those kids. And so it's like, you don't have that as much anymore. My grandmother came here to settle in and make the best of this. And my mother did the same, and I'm doing the same. And when you don't have that ideology, it becomes scary. It becomes, now you're kind of sucking the fruit out of this country and taking it elsewhere. Yeah. And so another word for that is a parasite. And that's not a good feeling, dude. That doesn't feel good to say, hey, you want everything we have, but then you want to take it. I don't like that. I want people to be like, you want to come here? I know you do. And I hope, and I know why. But if you're here fucking own this shit, dog. Make this
Yeah.
yours. Fall in love
And
with
be
it.
proud to be American. That's the
Be
thing
proud.
that kills me
Yes.
too.
Yes,
Like
be proud.
you will not see me wave a Panamanian flag anywhere.
Yeah.
That's just not like, look, I am proud to have freaking clawed my way to where I'm at. Proud that I wasn't born here. I made my decision and I am proud to be an American. I don't say, and I don't identify myself as like, oh, I'm Panamanian American. Oh, I'm this. Like, no, I earned that shit. Like
Yeah.
that those plaques, everything I've done, everything I earned in this country has validated my existence as an American. Like I am American, maybe not by birth, but by choice. But one thing that I'm seeing, and it's being spread in this younger culture of America's not good enough. I need to identify with the homeland that maybe my parents are from, maybe my grandparents are from. That's what I want to align myself with. I was like, yeah, whoa, hold up. Like Venezuela's cool. If you want, go there,
Right.
enjoy,
It's
visit.
yeah. It's an interesting thing. Like, look, I love being half Puerto Rican. I love being half Mexican. Those are my two cultures that my family stems from, and I love the culture of those. But I'm an American first,
Yeah.
dude. Hands down, I'm an American first. I'm teaching my kids Mexican food. I'm teaching my kids Puerto Rican food because I think it's very important to let them know the history of where we come from.
Yeah.
But we're Americans. When that national anthem is on, you take your damn hat off, you face that flag. You know what I mean? And I now more than ever get more emotional hearing that because I know it's the fight we're having of our life right now, dude. So every time I hear that national anthem, I'm getting emotional because I'm like, I have to stand tall for this because there's a lot of people who won't anymore.
100%.
Right. And I believe in it more now than ever because I have to.
Yep. Absolutely. The idea and the state of our nation has never been 100% secure. And what I mean by this is you look back centuries ago, you go back to even the founding fathers, at its inception, it was still constantly in a state of having to battle and maintain its sovereignty within itself, within its own people. Yeah. There's people that didn't want it. Hey, big government's too big. I have my own feelings about that, but we won't get into that. But everybody at since its inception, there's always been defiant people wanting to change it, mold it, make it something different. And we're seeing it even more today. The United States is not perfect. No nation is. People always want to make the comparison to other nations like New Zealand. Oh, well, look at these socialist government. Look at this government. Look at these ideas. Yes, but that is what works for them as a people. As a nation, we are completely different. We're one of the only true melting pots still around. Like, truly. And that's what makes us so powerful. But at the same time, it's becoming a weakness because we want to tear at each other. We want to come together and coalesce around the idea that we're freaking Americans. That was the biggest fight I had in Afghanistan. You had tribes of so many different people. And every time I sat down with a partner force or sat down with somebody that I was working with, like, hey, you're Afghanistan. All of you're Afghanistan. And there for a second, they'd be like, yeah, but maybe not him. Fuck him. He's Uzbek. And it's like, fuck, dude. No, we're never going to win this together if you don't rally around yourselves and proudly say, we are the nation. We are Afghans. We are together. And sadly, that's a fight that will haunt us as veterans. But one key thing that I always take away is how easy it was for them, whether it was a small partner force like the Tejas, or was it a larger commando force. At the end of the day, you could rally around one mission, get them all together. At the end of the day, they always separated themselves because that person belonged to this tribe or this religion or this faction. It's like, it's going to kill us. We have to come together as Americans, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're atheist. I respect you and I love you, brother. Like, I just want you to understand that our nation means more if we all come together. We're never going to be able to come out of this, and it's going to be easy to pick us apart if we don't coalesce around just the idea of a nation. A beautiful idea.
Yeah, where I feel it starts from, and where I also struggle with, is the mainstream media and social media influencers. Your actors, your actresses,
Yep.
They have massive influence on ideologies, and it's crazy to see how somehow social media has given them so much power, right?
One
And
voice.
how they use that power. And what bothers me is that, but all those people and all their fame, it can all be contributed to the United States of America and how we've created this entertainment industry to be so powerful. But then yet you turn back and shit on the very place and foundation and ideologies that have given you the platform to speak on.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. Anyone who's been famous in America, guys are coming from Canada, Drake, all these people come from Canada, come from all the, and they're famous here, and they're making their millions, and they're being successful. They're doing their tours or whatever it is, and they turn around and say anything negative towards America. It's like, wait, bro, you're just biting the hand that feeds you.
Exactly.
You should be like, this is the place. This is the place I love and respect because it's given me everything. But it's contrary to, they don't do that. They don't look at the real foundation of why they are who they are. It's because the entertainment industry is so massive because of our communities here in America.
Yeah. And it's always, and it always becomes every award ceremony, every grand show that they put on, it becomes this attempt to down talk the United States or the general American population. And it's just like, dude, come on.
Yeah, it's like you should start by saying, God bless America, or I love America, it's given me everything. But there's a issue here that I want to address. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Because we're allowed to speak, like freedom of speech, dog. Say what you want. Do your thing.
Absolutely.
But this is the United States. We give you the option. We give you the opportunity to have freedom of speech. And so acknowledge that first. Because it wasn't long ago when an Olympic wrestler in Iran was killed for talking against his government.
Yeah.
Shit, you fucking kidding me? Yeah, no one has to feel that here in America, man. And that's the beauty of this fucking place. Yeah. But you should acknowledge the fact that you have that freedom because it's America.
Absolutely. Or being completely just disappeared by the governing party if you go to another country and say something you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, how many Chinese athletes no longer exist? All they did was say the wrong thing. Gone.
Wild, man. It's wild. I just feel like, look, you don't have to agree with everything. The country is evolving. It's its teenage years and it's rebelling against everything.
Yeah.
But damn,
and it's really easy to look back at history and see it as a document that can be changed or flipped and judged. And that's the thing that really bothers me. If you sit down and read history, you have to understand it's a moment in time. Individuals didn't have the foresight, didn't have the understandings that we know now. Like, conquest and the creation of a nation is bloody, it's ugly, it's painful, and we learn from it. But we can't change it. And we can't sit here and game plan and say, oh, everything about this country is bad. Just look how bad it was back then. I'm like, yeah, a lot of shitty things happened. And before that, a lot of other horrible shit happened. And before that, take it all the way back. Peel that layer all the way back to the Apaches. Peel it all the way back to the native people. This land was always in a state and flux of conquest and rediscovery. Like, I need to preserve this land for my people. And you're on it, I'm going to kill you. That's one of the easiest and oldest things you can find throughout all of history. But then you get mad because somebody with a white face sails across and says, you know what? I'm going to make it better. I don't agree with it. There's a lot of atrocities. There's a lot of horrible, despicable things that happen. But that's history.
Yeah.
And we as human beings have to evolve and we have to change in order to become better. But we can't look at history and say, oh, man, this nation's founded on all this blood. Nope, got to throw it away. Are you kidding me? No.
It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic.
Completely unrealistic.
Yeah. And it's funny, Matt Larson, a good buddy of mine, he teaches and speaks on moral injury. And one of the things he says is we all have to come to the agreement that everyone dies a miserable death. Everything. Yeah. Everything dies as a miserable death. And if you can agree to that, then you can agree that when there's any kind of death, it's life. Yeah. And so when you struggle with this moral injury and take into context of like, this is morally feels wrong to watching all these illegal immigrants trying to come across or stopping this and that. I was like, this is life. And we have to learn how to manage this. And since we're America, we have to try and manage it in a way that we try and keep both those balances of being a humanitarian country that accepts immigration, but as well as protecting our brothers and sisters who live in this country. Yeah. And so we're the one country that actually gives a shit about that idea, you know? And so that's the other beauty of us, is that this is a fight of left and right ideology, whatever, but it's because we give a fuck so much about us, and we also give a fuck so much about them. Yeah. Now we have to find the balance in the middle of that pleases both.
And that in itself, that is the great, that's the great debate. That is the absolute great debate. But we don't get there with hate, fear mongering, and this idea that we can't come to a peaceful resolution, to an answer that's going to address both sides. Yeah, we absolutely can. We've overcome worse things. Yeah, we as a nation have overcome and solved greater issues. It's just about understanding that both sides are going to have to come to the table, agree and disagree on some things, and walk away and say, hey, this is the best course of action. Yeah, like put every representative, lock them in, and throw them a copy of the mission planning detachment's guide. Have them go through the mission planning process to how to solve this process, and nobody gets paid or is allowed to leave until you come through with it. That's just my idea. I think they're smart enough. They can figure it out. Hey, we've got we have a few Navy SEALs and Green Berets in office right now. They can come through with it. That's just wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but it's wild that people are so emotionally invested in subjects they know very little about. Yep. That's probably the scariest thing that I manage daily, is the hate comments that I get from people because their lack of understanding, and they just want to attack. And I'm like, okay, cool. I usually DM them and say, let's talk. Go for it. Like, I'll let you say what you want to say.
You're a brave man.
Yeah. And I'll count them because I know the subject so well. I'm not afraid of having a healthy dialogue, and they can be mad. I'm just going to hit them. I'm going to hit them with facts. Yeah. And one of these gentlemen's like, mad. I said, hey, what are you so upset about? I'm curious what it is. He goes, well, one of these border patrol agents one time abused my mom. I said, oh yeah, what color was your uniform? She was blue. I said, those weren't border patrol agents. I was like, those are customs agents. And I would willing to bet there was no abuse, but it probably felt you were getting targeted. Yeah. Okay. Valid motion. But when you say that's Border Patrol, and you've let that anger build in you and fester in you for so long, and you're angry at Border Patrol, but you're false. It's built on a false narrative. Yeah. I was like, and you're allowing that to carry on as an adult and say these things about Border Patrol, but you have no fucking real truth. You have the lack of understanding of what happened, and you're emotionally invested in a subject that it's just built off false pretenses. So
one of the greatest examples was the Border Patrol agent on horseback. Was it over a year ago?
Yeah.
They cropped a picture of his reins and said he was whipping an immigrant. Now, countless Americans fell victim to that propaganda. Countless of them. Individuals that have never been on a horse. Individuals that don't know anything about tack. Individuals that have never been to a southern state. And some individuals probably never even seen a horse in person in real life. And they're making pleas, making videos on social media, and they're attacking. And I believe this gentleman got death threats because we're now
absolutely.
We're in the era of doxing individuals. But the reality was he's trying to maintain control of the horse he is riding, which if you've ever been on a horse, if it gets too spooked or if it's got a lot of movement around him, that's a pretty dangerous situation. And he's looking out for the individuals on the border, immigrants himself, his fellow Border Patrol agents. And that dude is already hyper vigilant, already worrying about his job. And now you throw this on top of it. And nobody walked it back. Not one single reporter, photographer, or institution walked it back.
Yeah.
We can make any claim we want nowadays.
Oh,
and if we belong to a powerful news agency, we don't have to say that was a false.
Yeah. Look at Trevor Bauer. And I only use this because in recent news, Trevor Bauer was a pitcher for the Dodgers. And the case finally got dropped about he was accused of sexually abusing a girl. And now this girl, all the evidence is out, and it's like, oh my God, like he didn't do it, right? The video of her sitting in the bed, smiling and everything, all the text messages of her planning to set him up, all these things come out. And I was like, man, it's interesting because I followed him. I'm a Dodger fan, dude. So I followed him, and I got nervous. Like, should I unfollow him? I don't want to, I wasn't sure, you know what I mean? And so then I unfollowed him because I'm like, let's just keep things safe because you never know. And then I started following him on TikTok because I watch his pitching stuff because I'm a baseball fan. And I saw this whole thing. And I was like, I feel terrible. I got sucked into this. And you look at his comments, people are still saying he did it. And you're like, this is the society we have today, that people are not intelligent enough to decipher information. It's almost too much information that they're just taking everything at face value. And so then you have, they set an opinion. Now they think this guy's a sexual abusive person. And they're commenting on his Instagram, social media. I'm like, wait, don't you have a better thing to do with your life? If you think that of him, just unfollow the dude. Just unfollow the motherfucker. But no, we're so bored. We need like immediate gratification. We need stimulation so much that we're willing to go destroy fucking people's lives and not really, it's just, that is just one part of the problem that we have with politics, with immigration, with the border patrol, the whipping, you know what I mean? It all has just been people with no real context and just hearing, taking the face value of the title of a blog and then running with it and saying it's fact.
Yeah. No, the same thing goes for our opinions and our ability to target individuals like Border Patrol agents and tell them, put the ownership on them instead of the administration and actual leaders in office. We put the ownership of the problem on them, and it's attacking. Well, they just need to quit. They all need to rise up and quit. I don't see why they're listening to this bullshit, lies and fake politicians. They don't represent us. So Border Patrol agents, if they really had our back, they'd quit right now. Okay. Jim, I agree. These Americans should be willing to rally around and support us. But let me ask you this, Jim. What, you got a mortgage, right? Well, of course. And you got kids to feed. Yep. So how do you expect these Border Patrol agents to take care of their mortgages, take care of their kids, to pay for their bills? Are you going to come out and save them? No. But we put the ownership of the problem on the individual doing the job. That's
funny you say that, man. Funny you say that, right? It's funny you say that because that is such a thing, right? Like a lot of people talk from the position of privilege, and then they don't do anything about it, but they can bitch and complain about it, right? There's these, look at these millionaires that talk on social media. We know who they are, multi-millionaires. Well, then do something.
Yeah.
Do something. If you don't like it, do something. Create a new task force. Do a volunteer group. I don't care what it is. Put your money where your fucking mouth is.
Yeah.
Because I don't have fuck you money, homie. I don't have fuck you money. I'm a paycheck guy. I'm a guy that's like little here, little there. I don't have the money to just go and say. So what I did was write a fucking book. I'm a subject matter expert in Border Patrol career field. So I'm doing my part. Right. I'm doing this very subtle psychological operations, not really, but in the sense of like, I'm creating a message that deserves to be read and hopefully it helps steer ideologies, that hopefully it shifts perspectives. That's what
You're putting a face to the career. You're putting a face to the men and women because not everybody knows there's a Chris, there's a Jose, there's a Rodriguez out there that is a hometown American dude that came out of the military and was like, hey, Border Patrol, that's a job of service. Every veteran that I talk to, every single veteran I talk to in this peer-to-peer support movement that I've done and have created, all of them were like, if they did through a transition program or stumbled into the career field, number one reason why they did it, I wanted to be of service to American people again in a way that I could really feel like I was serving again.
Yeah.
That's the reality. Like you'll salute and you'll thank us for our service while we're wearing the uniform. But when we switch over and wear a different uniform, now we're the asshole that's not quitting and not throwing up a fit and not doing a demonstration against the policies. Well, you can't. It's a humanitarian. I would beg that a Border Patrol agent from the actual agents on guard on the border today are more of a humanitarian effort than they are law enforcement and peacekeeping. Like the moment that person comes through, that's a human face. That is a mom that is pregnant. That is a dude that hasn't eaten in 3-4 days,
Yeah.
dehydrated. Okay, maybe you have some violent individuals, maybe you have some drug mules, but I would say the vast majority of individuals crossing that border, as soon as they come and see an American, they're dehydrated, they're malnourished, they're in need of aid. What's your job? Your job is not to freeze, Border Patrol, get in here. No, it's surrender aid is to get them to the next collection point.
Yeah.
No one's going to throw them down and handcuff them or get them next. No, these are human beings.
It's the most complex law enforcement position. You can't find another more complex position than being a Border Patrol agent. You have to enforce. You have to be a humanitarian. You have to be of medical aid. You have to be a translator at times. You have to be a crisis counselor when they've just lost their loved one.
Yeah.
You have to be human as fuck, but with a gun just in case. Like, it is the hardest goddamn job imaginable, and everyone can critique it all they want until they got boots on the ground and they're sitting there watching a woman cross the river about to drown and throw her baby right into your boat. Just because we can't even fathom what the fuck she's going through, that she's wanted to throw her fucking baby at an agent just to get that baby the opportunity of having to be raised in America. I'm not one to fucking judge them. That's not my position. My job is to apprehend, process, and hand it off. Whatever the immigration policy is at the time, that's what we go by. We as Border Patrol agents don't create the policies. We just enforce the policies. Just as much as a sheriff doesn't implement the fucking speed, he just enforces the motherfucking speed. You know what I mean? So people have the misconception of it. And I genuinely fucking think this book will finally answer a lot of these questions for people. And it'll actually have you respecting the dynamic and complex job of a Border Patrol agent.
Yeah, I think so. I think that we need more. We need more Border Patrol agents that are willing to write and share their story. It is not something that's well understood. We only get small sound bites and small clips. And when honest individuals are willing to go there to the border to show what's going on, that's when America's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I have some stuff really going on here soon. You're gonna love.
Yeah.
I have some stuff soon. You know, it's hard to take a back seat and watch, and I see people trying, and I feel like none of them have ever done the career, so they're just missing these nuanced things about the Border Patrol that tell the full story. And since I've done it, I know it from the academy all the way up to the special operations community to the top level, that I'm working on creating something to help. If there's a such thing as dirty jobs, Mike Rowe, but Vincent Vargas on the border.
Oh, hell yeah.
Envision that. That's what I'm
That's
what I'm
awesome.
To do.
Hell yeah. And that's what and we need that. I would argue that that's the content that we need. Something with a value of purpose, of education that informs our American populace, because another TikTok dance isn't cutting it. Like that's the bane of my existence. Everybody's like, "Oh, you got to scale up, man. You got to get on TikTok." And I'm like, how about not? How about I'm not going to do that?
Is that what I need to do?
You're not going to get the numbers up, man. You're not. I'm like, look, man. First of all, this face ain't never going to get numbers on TikTok. That's just a fact. I ain't doing it for the numbers on there. We need to be able to move away from this 15-second soundbite and 15-second attention span. And we're doing it to ourselves. We're doing it to our kids. And it's bleeding into our causes. Like, we need to be educated. We need to be informed, because that's what we need in order to go to the ballot box to make great decisions as to who's going to be the next leader of our nation. But when we're just putting all the ownership on the media, dog, they got us. They're going to give us whatever we need to get us to do whatever they want us to do. And that's to vote for the next person that they're behind.
Yeah, whoever's paying their bills.
Exactly. And I'm at fault too. I've done it before. What's on TV? Who's the next one? Who's saying the bad things? All right, I don't like him because he said that. It's easy. It gets easier and easier as tech advances, as the narrative gets easier to push. Be the counterculture. If you're listening right now, be informed. It takes 2 seconds to go online and start searching peer-reviewed journals and articles. And I hate to tell you, you gotta read. You just gotta read. There are some good videos. There are some good people putting content. But if you want to be well informed on these issues that will not only impact your life, with your kids' lives and their kids' lives. You got to be willing to read. You got to be willing to expand your mind. And that's something that all of us need to do. Not just, Uncle Jim Bob who's got, living on government paycheck. Like, everybody can do it. All of us can be better informed. And that's how we expand this consciousness and be able to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to get that book by Vinny because I need to know what it's like to be on the ground so that I can be more compassionate to the guys and gals on the border. Like, it's ridiculous to think that we can sit there and ask them to take the ownership of the problem. No.
Yeah, no, we have to question everything. Everything. I approach everything, I question it all. And that it makes me curious to learn what is truth. And sometimes you're still not going to find that. And you have to come to your own conclusion what the best answer is for that. The stuff with, Israel and Gaza, that's a complex situation. And I don't begin to tell you that I know anything. What I don't like is seeing women and children being killed in combat. I don't like that. I'll never like that. I don't care who you are. But we also are the United States of America who go to war with rules. we are a country that goes to war with dignity. And it does not necessarily happens all the time. There's collateral damages of war, yes, but what we saw was absolutely disgusting and vile. And I don't know anyone who can say they were proud of that moment. And if you do, I question that.
Yeah.
We genuinely are a country that has rules in war, and most people don't.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's
part of the beauty of who we are.
Yeah. It was, I think every veteran, every service member who saw and woke up to the news has seen that it was not only jarring, but it begs to question the idea of, okay, now borders are really important all of a sudden.
Right.
Now,
I've had a lot of discussions about that.
Yeah, now it's really, now people are, well, who's at our border? And the reality is, we shouldn't wait till we see catastrophes and emergencies and horrible situations happening across the world before we get excited about our own security.
Yeah.
And
we shouldn't be reactive.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's not something to make excited like memes and comparisons to Red Dawn, because I tell you what, like, that's not like, I get it. There's that dark humor element. It's like, oh man, it's coming here. We're going to have our day. Like, dog, you're not going to have your day of jihad. It's not something you should be praying for or being excited about making memes. It's the reality is understanding the fragile state of our border, understanding that there are some very, very, very dangerous individuals who are willing to make that long trek. And if you look at the demographics, it's all, again, it's posted. The people that come through, the demographics of individuals that come through our borders is posted. Look it up. And then allow yourself a moment to say, oh, shit.
Yep. I was at the San Diego airport the other day. And the same way you can identify who just came from a processing center and was released, I could see. And everyone who was either of Haitian, African descent, or Chinese.
Yep.
I was like, okay, I know how I feel. You know what I mean? You know, and that's the reality, and you should question everything.
Absolutely. Understand that, okay, maybe it is a complex issue, and maybe this is something I should research. I'll be better informed when it comes to voting, because it's true that you never know what's going to come down the pipeline. So start reading, start being informed, because that's the only way you're going to make the right decision when it comes to voting time. Because unfortunately, Vinny and I, we can't make policy. We can't change how the border's secured. But you have the power as the American people. All you have to do is be informed. And yes, some individuals will try to make ploys and pull your heartstring. But the reality is, if you look at the situation that we're in right now and you look at civil considerations, I would beg to argue that by opening our borders and just having more people flood in here, not having the proper resources to care for them and our American populace, we're hurting more people in the long run.
Yeah.
We're already seeing it.
Absolutely.
So stay informed, individuals. Now, Vinny, what's the name of the book one more time?
Oh, yeah, let me get it. Oh, there it is. Borderline, Defending the Home Front. It's written by me. It's published by, it's the first imprint of the Jocko Press Publishing Company.
Damn.
Yes, and also partnered with St. Martin's Press, an incredible company. They've been awesome to work with. I know that a lot of you guys probably don't read or don't pick up a book. But listen, you support me if you buy that book, but even more so if you want to, you can listen to it. I read the audiobook. It's my voice.
Nice.
You'll enjoy it. Jocko read his forward for the book, and I really believe that it's a fun and very informational book. I talk about my stories. I talk about some funny stuff. I talk about some heavy stuff. I explain the dynamics of what we do, and I try and break it down in a way where it's digestible for the average listener to really, really understand a complex career field. And it's the only book, to my knowledge, that actually highlights the special operations portion of the Border Patrol, that is BORTAC and BORSTAR. I spent my time as a BORSTAR agent and was attached to BORTAC at the highest level of SOG. That's our tier 1 element. And I'm very proud of that fact. And I wanted to highlight it for the fact that I think a lot of you veterans or even active duty military members looking for something to do next, I promise you, you will not get bored with all the different opportunities you can do in the Border Patrol.
Oh yeah, no, that is absolute truth. I have a few friends that have also followed that track, and it is a hard job, but it's an honest job, and you're making a difference.
Yes.
Before I let you go, can you tell us, why did you choose to go into Border Patrol? What was the driving force behind your choice?
The book talks a little bit about it. I had a squad leader who explained it to me in the first place. I had no idea. I knew there was a Border Patrol. I had no idea like what they even did. It didn't make sense to me, to be honest. I was so disconnected from the whole reality of what a Border Patrol agent does. Yeah. And he explained that they had a special operations unit that does some like high speed shit. And at the time, the Alien Gonzalez in Florida, that whole thing. And I was like, oh man, that's interesting. So I got out of the military. I applied for a couple fire departments. My father's a firefighter. My brother's a firefighter. And, I ended up getting into some fire. I fought a fire, and I realized real fast this was not for me. And so I joined the Border Patrol, and with the hopes of joining the Special Operations units, and I did. And so I joined because I really felt compelled to do what I was doing overseas, but in country, be home, doing that to protect our own nation, and as well as getting paid for the hours worked instead of in the military working crazy hours and never getting paid for it. So it fulfilled a lot of things for me.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't thank you enough for being here, sharing your thoughts on the border crisis, but most importantly for being an honest broker of the truth. The truth is rarely something that's comfortable, appealing to every side, and it rarely makes us feel warm and fuzzy. But when we have the truth, we're better informed, and we can make a bold decision in the right direction. And I think that your book is going to help clear a lot of misconceptions and give the American people an honest look at what it takes to do the job. And when we can bring that common humanity to that job, that profession, I think we can do a better job being Americans and truly appreciate what it means to have a nation that's secure. So thank you for being here today. Can't wait to dig into your book, brother. Again, what's the title of the book?
It's called Borderline, Defending the Home Front.
Awesome. And when does it drop officially?
November 14th. Everything you purchase anything now, all the way until the week of that, it all goes towards trying to become a New York Times bestselling author. It's a dream of mine. I feel like I did enough work on this book to impress people. And that's what we're shooting for. If I could get that, then I already have another book lined up behind it. And that's about my time as an actor on my end.
Which, by the way, I understand that it's become a very contentious point because people are coming after you for a fictitious character's death.
Yeah, you must have done something right. I must have done something right.
Well, I promise we won't be sending any hate letters or death threats your way, brother.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Good night.